What a great sight. The trucks rolling off pit lane as they get ready to line up, and we get ready for playoff race number 2. It's going to be exciting tonight. We had a terrific race here in the spring, and the draft is going to play such an important role. And Mike, I love Ben Rhodes earlier today said Vegas is like the Talladega of the West because of the draft that they'll run in tonight.
Yeah, check this Camping World track description out. You can see it's 1.5 miles. The progressive banking in the corners, the grip is up high, it seems, and these guys can run all over this racetrack. 9 degrees on the back straightaway. This is built for speed, and we're going to see a lot of it tonight, Phil.
Let's take a look at our race analysis. This race is broken up into 3 stages. Our stages are 30, 30, and the final stage 74 laps. You see this race is 134 laps long, and our pit window is somewhere between 50 and 55. We will have a pit stop in that last stage.
Starting lineups tonight, Noah Gragson led all the drivers in qualifying earlier this afternoon, and I tell you what, Gragson has been a master of qualifying. 5 pole awards for Gragson, and KBM has really dominated at the 1.5 miles. But how about Chris Eggleston? Great job qualifying on the second row.
Yeah, Riley Herbst back on row number 3, local Las Vegas native Riley Herbst.
Row 4 is stout too. Brandon Jones, John Hunter Nemechek, both of those guys can go to victory lane.
Todd Gilliland nearly won the opener at Canada. Justin Haley did win. Timothy Peters with GMS. Good to see him back in the field.
See Cody Coughlin back there in row number 8 along with the top 10 finish. Austin Hill from Canada.
Bola Mastis with a top 20 starting position. Ben Rhodes will be going to the back. He's one of our championship contenders.
Austin Theriault making his first start of the season.
Another Las Vegas native, TJ Bell, in row number 12.
Ross Chastain doing triple duty this weekend, running the truck, the Xfinity car for Chip Ganassi in the 42 and the Cup car as well.
Look at Matt Crafton. A lot of questions around that team. Have they got that truck squared away? Will it have speed to run toward the front?
32 trucks lined up, getting ready to roll, and a couple of them going to provide us with some interesting looks.
Yeah, this is the Ford on board for Ben Rhodes. This is the Carolina Nut Ford. He was supposed to start in the 18th position, but due to unapproved adjustments, Ben Rhodes will have to start from the back of the pack. Our winner from last year, but he's going to carry that visor cam. What a great view we're going to have from Ben Rhodes all night long.
You're going to see how rough this track is and all he's going to be faced with. We're also going to ride along with Cody Coughlin. He's going to start from the 15th position in the God Bless the Broken Road Chevy.
Of course, that movie just came out last week. Great family film. If you haven't had an opportunity to see it, encourage you to do so. And Coughlin has a cameo in that, a little racing theme to it as well. Our pit reporters are Caitlin Vincey and Hermie Sadler. We'll begin with Hermie.
Well, thank you, Vince. Rudy, the first playoff race on the road course in Canada. You come to the final corner. Your trucks are 1-2. They make contact. You end up 9th and 11th. What role did you have to play to put that behind it for your race team so you guys with the 18 team could chase a championship?
Yeah, just I think it's my job to get everybody together and get the big picture, which is we didn't want that to happen, but the big picture is how we get over it, you know, and how we move on for our teams, our families, our sponsors, our manufacturer, and race the rest of the year, win races with Todd, win the championship with Noah. So getting over that as quick as we could was the key, and I think we're there. I think we're ready to win tonight, and Todd's ready to win too. So it's what we need.
Big rebound for the 18. They start P1 tonight. Caitlin?
Well, Hermie Jr. Joyner calls the shots for Matt Crafton on top of the box. Not the qualifying effort you had hoped for. What was your process going through that truck following qualifying?
We just had to check everything out, make sure we didn't do something wrong, you know. So I don't know, maybe I just missed it on the adjustments or whatever, but we got a really good Menards F-150. Hooked up with Roush Yates boys this weekend, and Matt's really happy with the steam. Everything's gone so well. It's kind of a bummer, but he promised me top 10 in 10 laps, so I'm gonna hold him to that.
A lofty goal there for Matt Crafton. Vince?
Yeah, well, that's to our benefit. All of us watching are going to get to see Crafton go to the top 10 that quick. I like his attitude. It's Las Vegas. It's playoff race number 2, and it's green when we come back. One look, and you know that city. It's Las Vegas, and we're getting ready to go green at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And Phil, we were here in March. Quite a different feel in the air tonight.
Vince, we touched on it briefly. The temperature could not be any different. We had temperatures maybe in the low 60s. Let's take a look. 63 degrees was what the temperature was in the spring with that great racing. 98 degrees tonight, 35 degrees difference. But look at that track temperature, Michael. Almost 50 degrees different track temperature. These guys are going to have a slick racetrack, and it's going to be hard to get a hold of.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how they deal with the transition too, Phil. As that sun sets, the track surface will cool down, obviously. Who's going to have a truck that's handling well at the beginning of the race, and how does that change as we race throughout the evening? I think it's going to be a big difference. I think we're still going to see side-by-side racing, but watch for the truck down on the bottom when they're side-by-side to get loose. That's easy to have happen to you. You lose downforce when you're down on the bottom. We'll see who can hang on and who can't.
Well, you saw the flags blowing in the wind there as they came through turn 3. Got a nice breeze tonight. Low humidity, but it is warm, but it's going to be beautiful. Sunsets in about 30 minutes. It's playoff race number 2. Last 12 races at Las Vegas, 12 different winners. Who's it going to be tonight? Noah Gragson, the pole winner, leads us to green in Vegas. Not wasting any time, go 3 wide and through turn 1 and 2. Riley Herbst in the 46, John Hunter Nemechek in the 8. Everybody fighting for position while Noah Gragson has taken the point.
Ronnie Sauter stuck in the middle, the blue and white number 21 of that 3 wide battle.
First lap belongs to Gragson.
Look how strong that 98 truck is down on the bottom. Grant Enfinger looking for that second position.
Enfinger's had some really good runs here in Las Vegas. They brought a lot of confidence into this race. Matt Crafton already on the move. Remember, as crew chief Junior Joyner said, he wants to be in the top 10 in 10 laps, and he is going, and there's contact up on the wall. That's the 20 of Tanner Thorson.
The 13 of Mike Snyder got loose, and Tanner Thorson moved up the racetrack to give him some extra room and slammed the wall coming off of 4.
Yeah, he needs to get that truck to pit road. It'll blow that right front tire. His night's done. That's a lot of damage.
Thorson getting down, everybody trying to avoid him.
Coming off a couple top 15 finishes in a row for Thorson.
Yeah, outstanding driver from the USAC ranks. A tough way to get his night started as Todd Gilliland in that 4 truck moves in front of Sauter, and that caution is out. Fluid on the track and some heavy fire inside the 20 truck, and Thorson wasting no time getting out of that. Well, and you can see his disappointment and the anger, I think, coming from underneath the helmet of Tanner Thorson for his night to be finished.
I think it was just a reaction. We saw the 13 of Myatt Snyder get a little bit loose. Thorson just moved up just to give him a little bit more room. Let's take another look at it. This is already after the 13 had gotten loose. Thorson had committed to the top side and ran out of racetrack.
Yeah, and it just happened so quickly, Phil. These trucks are running over 175 miles an hour, and when one of them gets sideways, your first reaction is to dodge him, to go somewhere where he isn't. That reaction got Thorson up out of the groove, and he slid into the outside wall.
So Tanner Thorson, who is making his 6th start of the season, done already.
You can see fluid from behind that truck, so definitely probably broke an oil line or something like that when he got into the outside wall.
And how dejecting is that for that young man? You said it, Phil. A couple of good runs here in the truck this year. Just getting started tonight, wanting to learn, wanting to compete and contend. Already going to be on the trailer.
Ben Rhodes had to start at the back for unapproved adjustments, and he got busy right away.
When you get this far back in the pack, you never know what's going to happen, but he jumps to the outside of Jordan Anderson. Look at that pile of trucks in front of him. He's going to just drive right around him on the outside. Austin Wainsell, that 22 on the left. Wow.
Yeah, guys, the 41 of Ben Rhodes, one of our championship contenders, had to start at the rear of the field, and the team did not really know why. They lost about 300 RPMs in qualifying from where they were in practice yesterday. So they pulled the axles out of the 41. They checked the rear end housing. They went under the hood, changed the coil, put plugs in, anything they could do preventative measure-wise to try to get this 41 back up to speed. I just went down to the 41 pit. Crew Chief Eddie Traconis gave me the thumbs up. They think so far the 41 is back up to full song.
Well, and his teammate Matt Crafton's got to be pretty happy as well. Remember, his crew chief Junior Joyner said that Crafton told him he'd be top 10 by lap 10. Well, he's 6 laps. He sits 12th. Got to be pretty happy in that 88 cam. Still a lot of work to be done early here at Vegas. They're almost like we were at the dirt track the other night, the K&N race. A lot of people up in arms about how dusty that was out here in Las Vegas. You get that out here in the desert.
There's a lot of dust out here.
Let's check in with Caitlin.
Well, guys, I was just listening into the 98 radio of Grant Enfinger's. Dropped a little bit down on the leaderboard, telling the team, I feel like I might have a small vibration similar to what I experienced yesterday in practice. His crew chief, Jeff Hensley, saying, well, don't take chances. If it gets bad enough, bring it down pit road, guys.
Well, certainly Grant Enfinger cannot afford any sort of hiccup tonight as he comes into the race 8th out of 8 in the playoff standings. And remember, only the top 6 advance to the next round, of course, after Talladega, our next race.
Yeah, I'm sure they've changed tires, and that vibration must have persisted through the tire change. And so it could be a driveline issue, but it's certainly something that if it gets worse, you would be worried about a loose wheel. And with stage racing, if they have to make an unscheduled pit stop and come in and change tires under green, they're going to lose a lap, but there's a chance with the brakes in the race that they can get back in the game. Obviously, that wheel comes loose and they hit the wall, it's over, and he can't afford that.
But at this time, you just worry about every little thing.
Oh, totally.
Yes.
Especially for these playoff contenders, Vince. Take a look at this. I was watching this when we were looking at him, and it looked like there was some debris that flies up over the top of the 98 truck. See right there?
Is that just a piece of
Looks like a
tape?
piece of plastic. Did it maybe some plastic or something like that?
That bare bond stuff gets, it's pretty substantial, and it can float through the air
pretty
like
thick,
that.
A lot thicker than normal tape.
Yes, sir.
Well, the cleanup continues after the accident involving Tanner Thorson and putting some fluid down on the track, so they're cleaning that up. We hope to go green when we come back to Las Vegas. Jones and Gilliland both out of the Kyle Busch stable, and KBM had all 4 of their trucks in the top 12 in qualifying. Did a great job. Riley Herbst, the teenager from here in Vegas, is in the 46 for KBM this week.
We can't agree on anything. The 3 different guys there we think are going to be first-time winners, and I think all 3 of those are solid trucks tonight and could possibly go to victory lane.
I think maybe that guy in the 18, that young man in the 18, might have something to say about that.
Hey, does Gregson have something to prove tonight after what happened in Canada and the way that race ended?
I think a little bit.
Yeah, certainly. He was in a position. I didn't have a problem with the dive bomb. He got inside, but what he had to do was not spin his truck. That was what he did wrong. He looped around, and that was a mistake, and he knows it. The team seems to have put that behind them. They're focused on tonight, and there's no way better to make it up to your guys than driving to victory lane, and I think that's exactly what he's thinking.
Do you trust the guy, even if he is your quote-unquote teammate, a little less, though, after that? I mean, is there a little less trust between Gregson and Gilliland now?
Well, there might be for a while till they get to racing around each other, and they're close now. They're only separated by 1 row, so they may get that opportunity here tonight. And if we have the racing like we saw in the spring, they're going to get that opportunity to race around each other.
That just makes it a little more fun, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, we've got so much to watch. So many developments before this one's over tonight. The track's cooling down a little bit right now. That's going to help the grip. This could be an intense restart.
How about Matt Crafton jumped 19 spots in the first 4.5 laps of green flag racing before the caution came out. He did not waste any time. The cleanup is complete, and we're back to racing in Las Vegas.
Look at Gilliland jump to the outside and make it 3 wide.
Friesen in the middle with Brandon Jones on the bottom. Jones jumps up to take second, but he's got company.
Look at that bright yellow truck on the bottom, Matt Crafton. He's charging up toward the top 5 as he dives into turn 3.
Wow, Crafton makes the move and slips inside of Enfinger, and Crafton has come all the way from the last row and is now sitting in the 6th spot.
Well, he promised Junior Joyner he would do that.
It wasn't his fault that the caution flag came out. He couldn't do it on his own by lap 10.
John Hunter Nemechek there in the top 5 in that 8 truck. Starting to sort themselves out a little bit as they come through that speedy dry and down the backstretch. Crafton taking a look under the 21 of Johnny Sauter.
You can see Sauter really slipping up the hill there. That's a product of the hot, slippery track. These trucks just don't handle as well when it's hot like it is, and especially when you're in traffic like Sauter is now.
Just about every person that I talked to in the garage area, guys, when I said, who's the best truck? Every one of them said the 21. They may have added a couple other trucks with it, but everyone had the 21 on their list.
For second, Stuart Friesen in the 52. Gilliland in the 4. John Hunter Nemechek right behind him's got a great view of it. Friesen has been runner-up 3 times this season. Hasn't been able to get to that top step.
That's a real hard pass to complete when you're just dead down on the bottom of the racetrack, Dents. You need to be able to slide up, exiting the corner. Friesen couldn't do that, and that's going to open the door for John Hunter Nemechek in that 8 truck to take the 3rd spot away.
How much momentum do you lose when you try to make that move but can't complete it?
You saw it there. It can cost you even not only the place spot you were going for, but multiple ones after that. And, you know, it takes a little bit to get rebounded and get the thing wound back up. And you see Friesen has done a nice job. He's in line, and he can go back and attack again.
Halfway through stage 1.
I think every bit of at least a half a lap to recover when you have a loss of momentum, maybe even a lap in some cases.
That's why you'll see these drivers, especially the experienced ones, like John Hunter Nemechek, who's run a lot of these races, they'll start to look around up top because it's easier to complete a pass if you can swing around the high side, as you see Nemechek doing there. You don't lose your momentum when you go up there.
Gregson has led them all so far as Nemechek completes the pass for second, and now Friesen coming along aside Todd Gilliland looking for 3rd.
Look at the way Gilliland was able to hang on, use the draft off Nemechek, and shut the door on Friesen. That was a great example of John Hunter going around the top and keeping his engine wound up and able to complete that pass.
Battle for the 8th position. Johnny Sauter has 8th. Matt Kraft on the 88 trying to take it from him.
How many times have we said Johnny Sauter and Matt Crafton battling? They're doing it again here.
Watch Sauter just run out of space here up top.
Oh,
definitely made some contact with the outside safer barrier.
Got to get the attention of crew chief Joe Shear when his driver's banging the wall this early in the race. Remember, he is second in the standings, but can't afford a disastrous race tonight when you've got Talladega coming up next as Matt Crafton has to make a big save.
Johnny was so close to him, it just sucked the back of that 88 truck around. And this is the perfect case of the momentum that Matt's going to lose. He's going to do a nice job jumping up in the draft of Johnny Sauter to maybe not lose another spot.
And there is Ben Rhodes right behind his teammate Crafton. Those two started in the back row, and they have made their way inside the top 10.
Coughlin was down on the bottom, lost a little bit of his momentum. As he exits turn 4, can he move up? But no, Timothy Peters in that 25 truck comes around the outside.
10 laps remaining in stage 1 here in Las Vegas. Had an early yellow because of an incident involving Tanner Thorson. Otherwise, it has been mean and green. Not much room being given.
There goes Coughlin. He's going to look to the bottom. Haven't seen very many people be able to complete the pass down on the bottom, but Cody does a nice job of running hard down in the corner, moving up and taking the spot away.
Timothy may have given him a break as well. Both trucks coming out of the GMS stables. See, Brett Moffitt moves to the inside of the 13 of Myatt Snyder to try to take over the 13th position.
Matt Crafton runs 9th. Caitlin?
Yeah, well, we've been talking about his march towards the front of the field and talking with his crew chief, Junior Joyner, about that 29 race winless streak that this driver is on right now. He said he knows he has to be more aggressive than ever. He said, right now, I feel like we are pretty much out of excuses as far as our performance goes. He says, we are they're trying harder than ever, but the results have just not shown it. But he said he felt really good about this truck right as it unloaded off of the truck. So they felt good about the speed. Obviously, qualifying a bit of an unknown for them, but so far they have been making their way through the field. Also saying they have tons of family and friends, both for driver and crew chief here. Those guys being from nearby California, a win here would be big for them today. Hermie.
Well, Caitlin, as Phil Parsons mentioned, Johnny Sauter was at the top of everybody's list after practice as to who do you have to outrun to win this race. But so far tonight, his truck is way too tight, especially on exit of the corner. He is on the splitter really bad entering turn 1. So as this track temperature has dropped and the grip has increased, the handling is getting worse on the 21.
And Hermie, I'm going to tell you, hitting the outside wall doesn't help the handling of your truck in any way at all. Losing side force off that right rear, that could be a part of his issues as well. But you can see he's able to close up and battle for that position. Close right up on the back of Justin Haley in the 24, and they've got Grant Enfinger pinched down to the bottom.
And they chased that group down, too. So Johnny Sauter's truck now is running better. He was the second fastest truck on the racetrack that last lap.
Remember, we were here in March. Sauter's truck was too loose throughout much of the race, and then it came to him late in the race, and he was coming strong. Ended up finishing second to Kyle Busch, but he had a bad, fast truck at the end of that race in March.
And you know what? The move he's making now, the speed he has after bouncing off the wall, that helps the crew chief, Joe Shear Jr., so much. He knows he doesn't have to worry about the damage as much. He just needs an adjustment for Sauter, and hopefully that'll be the difference maker.
These two are going to get tired of one another before it's all said and done. Big wiggle from Gilliland as he was side by side with Nemechek, and that's going to cost him another spot as Friesen tries to make the move and does get around the 4.
And with just a handful of laps to go, just 4 laps to go on this stage points are on the line here. Every one of these teams is chasing points. Stage points count. Every one of these guys, with the exception of Justin Haley, who already knows that he's into the next round, need these stage points.
And that's why Haley has that green widget next to his number. He is already locked into the next round. If you've got a yellow widget next to your position, well, you're in on points as we currently run. But if you're red like Enfinger there in that 98, that means you're on the outside looking in. Remember, only 6 drivers advance to the next round, but we've still got this one to finish and then go to the, Talladega. Going to be fun there.
And that's why everybody wants to collect as many points here as they can, because they know what an unknown Talladega is.
You're not counting on anything at Talladega?
Nothing. Just a good time on Talladega Boulevard is all you can count on.
Amen to that. Here comes Nemechek, but no challenge for Gregson. Gregson 4 seconds out front. 2 to go here in this first stage. Pits are closed. Gregson has led them all so far.
We talk about that 4-second lead for Gregson. At the end of the race, the top 4 finishers were only separated by less than a second here in the spring. That's how good that 18 truck is.
Yeah, and you can tell John Hunter's holding up Friesen here just a bit. He could probably get to the outside and try that line. Get a little bit more momentum off the turn.
Final lap here in stage 1. That's the difference in the lead between Gregson and second place John Hunter Nemechek. Nemechek's got his mirrors full of the 52 of Stuart Friesen. Gilliland behind Friesen, and then it's Brandon Jones. 3 KBM trucks in the top 5. Gregson bringing it home. It's going to be his 10th stage win of the season. Noah Gregson takes stage 1 at his hometown in Las Vegas. The early stages haven't been the problem for Gregson. It's closing the deal at the end of the race that's been the challenge. Will tonight be any different? He's off to a good start. It's been a dominating performance by that 18 truck, piloted by Las Vegas native Noah Gregson. He's led them all so far, collects the stage 1 win. And we talked a lot at the beginning of the show about the draft, how big it was when we were here in March, as you see the points break down from stage 1. It seemed like we've seen quite as much pack racing tonight in the draft as we anticipated.
It's a coming. It's going to get more and more intense, and they're going to be drafting 2 and 3 wide, Vince.
Caitlin Vincey's there as they come to pit road.
Vince, once again, Stuart Friesen is strong on a 1.5 mile racetrack. We have seen that all throughout the course of the year. Just talked to his crew chief, said a little bit tight. They're going to do a track bar adjustment for the 52 and go ahead and just do right side tires only. Herbie.
John Hunter Nemechek needs his truck to turn better through the center of the corner. It's going to be 4 tires and a wedge adjustment on the right rear of the 8. The 18 of Noah Gregson. He likes his truck. The changes they're going to make or to keep up with the racetrack only. It's a wedge adjustment for the 18 of Gregson.
What do you guys think? 4 tires versus 2 tires?
I think these crew chiefs have studied this. They know that the two-tire call can give them the performance that they need. We haven't seen a whole lot of fall off in the lap times really throughout that first stage, so I like it.
And I think we're going to see a great example here because Matt Crafton is on 4 tires, so these crew chiefs are going to get a good gauge on 2 tires versus 4 tires. Then they can adjust maybe at the end of the second stage.
It's the same left side tire as the teams ran in Vegas in March. It's a little different right side tire. Restart when we return. Back here in Las Vegas, stage 1 complete, getting ready to roll on stage 2. So a variety of teams taking 2, some took 4. And
that's why the competitors love this stage racing so much, Vince, and the fans alike, because the strategies get so mixed up. Guys try to pull out a play of their playbook that can get them track position, get them in a spot to be up near the front. We saw that during this caution with 2-tire strategy. Even a couple guys didn't take tires, just some gas.
I want to see what happens with Matt Crafton. He's the lead truck right now that took 4 tires on that pit stop. We're going to get a good example of whether 2 is better than 4 or 4 is better than 2 or not. And these crew chiefs can adjust when it comes to the end of the second stage. And we know there's going to be a pit stop in the final stage, in that final 74 lap stage. So it'll be interesting to see what these guys may choose to do then.
So as Phil mentioned, Friesen, Gregson, and Gilliland, the top 3, took 2 tires on that stop, and Matt Crafton, who sits 4th, is the first in the group to have taken 4. You know, we were talking a little bit before the pit stops about the draft and how it was such a big part of the race in March. Haven't quite seen that here in this race, but Mike, as the sun is now setting here in Las Vegas, you think as the track cools, it's going to bring the draft more into play?
It certainly will. Anytime you can run wide open all the way around the track, that's when the draft works the best. And these guys were probably slipping off the gas a little bit because of the heat in the track. Just got a report from pit road, still 112-degree track temperature. I think as the sun sets here in the desert, that will fall dramatically quite quickly. And I think that's when the action will heat up for these guys.
Take a look at our Ford facts here in Las Vegas. Shelby American moved to Nevada in 1998, becoming the first automobile manufacturer in Nevada. About that Shelby cars, I'd like to have one.
Me too.
You could add to that total.
I would be gladly be 14,916.
Yeah, that's right on the grounds of the racetrack here. The industrial part of the complex has Shelby American.
Stage 2 getting ready to roll. Pace car will pull off, and Stuart Friesen will be the control vehicle. Noah Gregson right beside him there in that 18 truck has been the dominant truck so far, but we'll see what he can do this time around as Friesen takes the green. Has Todd Gilliland right behind him. Grant Infinger dipping down on the bottom below the 21 of Sauter. Trying to make a move, and it's Crafton around the outside in the Neon 88.
Look at that wide of trucks there, Vince.
Wow.
4 wide.
Some big hitters in some dangerous positions as they came 3 wide through the corner there, but Friesen sorts it out in front with Infinger right behind him, and Todd Gilliland 3rd, and there's Crafton 4th. Still a gaggle in the pack.
Big Gregson's back to the 5th position. Remember, he had clean air from the drop of the green flag. Now he has some trucks. He's in some traffic as we ride along with Cody Coughlin.
You can hear Coughlin off the gas as he exited the corner there in 2. That's just the turbulent air that's upsetting the handling of that truck. And these guys are really battling up ahead there, not only to try to grab positions, but to hang on to their trucks. They want to be really loose down on the bottom of the track.
But Johnny Saunders dropped all the way outside the top 10, guys.
Did he get into the outside wall there, Phil? Looked like as he is coming through the tri-oval, maybe the wall again. Look at this battle for the lead.
Grant Enfinger and Stuart Friesen. Enfinger in the 98 finished 4th here in the spring. Said he thought they had a truck that could win it here in Las Vegas. Really likes the track here.
Remember, he comes in there 8th seed. He's got to make something happen here.
And Matt Crafton's not in much better shape than him, just a point to the good. And you can see both those trucks are right there at the front battling for the lead.
Enfinger restarted 7th. He's now in front. Gregson in the 18, right behind his teammate Todd Gilliland. Anytime those two are going to run close to one another, want to keep an eye on it after their history last time out.
You mentioned that about 15 minutes ago, Vince, and here we are.
Friesen now back to the front as he and Enfinger have swapped leads, and here comes Matt Crafton.
That's got to be such a confidence booster for Matt Crafton. It's been a bit of a struggle. You talked about the winless streak. Not a whole lot of time near the front of the pack either, and now he's going somewhere tonight.
Well, he gets really, one thing I've noticed is when he's stuck on the bottom with another truck close to him, he gets a little bit loose. He got loose that time with Enfinger on his outside.
Crafton has just 1 win in his last 57 races, and you know, the 1.5 miles for so long was right there in his wheelhouse, but he hasn't won a 1.5 mile race since Charlotte in 2016. He is long overdue, and you don't have to tell him or his crew chief, Junior Joyner, that. They are well aware.
How about that 97, that blue truck of Jesse Little? I haven't mentioned Jesse. Limited schedule for this team out of Sherrills Ford, North Carolina, but always bring a competitive truck to the racetrack. Jesse's done an outstanding job this year.
Going to run 4 of the final 6 races.
Yeah, he about spun out in qualifying, started deep in the pack. Another one of our big movers.
He's picked up 16 positions since the start.
Speaking of the 16, Brett Moffitt running 13th, Hermie.
It's been a struggle since the drop of the green flag for the 16. And a couple different issues. Vince, they pulled tape off the grill of that 16 when he came down pit road because the water temperature was showing 260 degrees. But now they think it may be a water temperature gauge issue. So they'll be monitoring that on the 16. On top of that, the truck is really way too tight, will not turn. They put 4 tires, pulled a spring rubber out of the left rear, and made a wedge adjustment. All that on 1 pit stop for the 16.
Yeah, taking a pretty big swing at it.
I'm going to tell you, Hermie, that's a lot of adjustments for a team to make. That just tells you what kind of shape Moffitt's truck was in. I think it's improved, Phil. He's turning some better lap times and moving up toward the front.
Caution is out. Turn 4. Bringing him to a 17. Look at Bo Lamastus has gotten into the wall hard.
The pass here.
In 4 races here, Enfinger has gotten better each time with his finishing position, and he finished 4th here in the spring. He's back out front with the pass of Friesen and Crafton came along with the 98.
How about from last to second for Matt Crafton in 50 laps?
Noah Gregson challenging Friesen as well now for 3rd. So Friesen started first on this restart, now finds himself in 4th.
Looks like Noah Gregson's truck is coming alive now. Led the early part of this race to the end of stage number 1. Got back a little bit in traffic the early part of stage 2. Now he's made his way back up to the 3rd spot.
Won that stage by 4.5 seconds. I bet he's thinking, what the heck's going on now? These 2 trucks have been battling fiercely. Coughlin down on the bottom just a lap ago down into turn 3. Is that 4 wide? That's not going to work, Phil.
And it barely, Eggleston said, well, I need that space down in the bottom.
And I just got to tell you, that's a great job by Cody Coughlin. He saw what was coming. He had to get way off the gas. Watch this move he makes. The draft, you asked about it, Vince. It's real and it's live and it's happening here. Watch this truck really pull up, and with the draft, he's able to swoop to the bottom, all the way up beside the 54. But Eggleston comes down, and that's just a great job of driving by both those young men.
It really is. Eggleston really came down like he wasn't even there. Needs a little more help from the spotter, I think.
Coughlin eventually got that spot from Eggleston. There's a look at the back of that truck of Cody Coughlin at Chris Eggleston.
I think Coughlin's got a good truck. That 2's running really well. You can see he's able to pull away from that pack and go race for a top 15 running spot.
Back in 17, Coughlin working with Doug Randolph as his crew chief now for a couple of races after starting the season with Jerry Baxter. Baxter crew chiefing the 25 of Timothy Peters, and there you see Peters in that red and white Chevrolet, and it looks like a problem maybe for Riley Herbst. Saw some smoke come out of the back of that.
He just popped the wall coming off turn 4, Vince.
And I don't know, that's a lot of smoke. Watch how hard he hits the wall off turn 4, just pushes up. I really think that that'll blow that right front tire out, and indeed it does.
So a problem for Riley Herbst, and that is too bad because he has really had a nice weekend. And really solid in practice yesterday, good qualifying effort earlier today.
That looked very similar to Tanner Thorson's contact with the outside wall early in the race.
NASCAR's elected to leave the green flag out. Didn't see any debris from the contact from Herbst, so want to be able to finish the stage under green if they can.
And then Crafton gets into the wall as well.
Wow. Things are hard to drive, huh?
They are.
You put them in a pack like that, or just drafting off each other, they just don't want to turn in the corners. And even the best experienced driver like Matt Crafton, we saw Johnny Sauter into the outside wall. It doesn't just happen to the rookies.
Seeing a lot of trucks, Michael, make their way up to the top. They're migrating up towards the top of the racetrack. There's another shot of Crafton kissing the wall there off of turn 4.
Just ran out of room.
They need to move that wall up a little bit.
It's in the same place it's always been.
Oh, is it? Okay.
And look, he didn't lose a truck length. He just brushed the wall and kept it wide open and is able to hold off Noah Gregson here with just 3 laps to go in the stage.
It's going to be a solid stage here for Matt Crafton. If he can hold on to second here, he'll get 9 points for this stage.
Chasing his teammate Grant Enfinger, and Enfinger came into this race in the 8th position of 8 playoff drivers. He needs a big night tonight.
Yes, Vince, he absolutely does. I actually talked to Grant about that exact thing, about how he's on the outside looking into the next round of the playoffs, and he said, I feel like tonight I need to be more aggressive than I've been all season long. Not an act out of desperation, but I don't want to go to Talladega with my back against the wall. So he had a good performance here earlier in the spring at top 5. They brought the same truck, and also they told me a very similar setup as well to what they ran in the spring.
I love the consistency of Enfinger. I mean, just 2 finishes outside the top 15 all season. One of them, our last race at Canada, and he was going to be inside the top 15 if he would have been wrecked right at the finish of that one. They've been extremely consistent and running inside the top 10, but they just haven't had winning speed, and that's what they've been missing.
And they might have it tonight. It sure looks good for the 98.
Grant Enfinger closing in on his 4th stage win of the season, and oh, it's so big for him as he tries to climb back in the playoff picture, and he does it. Grant Enfinger. You like it if you had a little extra cash on Enfinger on this one. 33-1 odds earlier this week. Smart money on the 98. What a beautiful night in Las Vegas, and it has been great competition so far this evening. Playoff race number 2. Noah Gregson won stage 1. Grant Enfinger has won stage 2, and you see the points accumulated so far this evening.
Yeah, great job by Enfinger and Friesen, get 14 stage points. Matt Crafton getting 12, and Noah Gregson getting 18.
One name you don't see on that list, Brett Moffitt. A bit of a struggle for the 16 team tonight.
Yeah, he was 10th in this stage, so only 1 point gained by Brett Moffitt tonight.
Headed to pit road for stop number 2. Caitlin is there waiting on the group.
Well, Vince, it's been an impressive night for Matt Crafton, starting at the rear, making his way all the way into the top 5. You see him there at the top of your screen, telling the team just a moment ago, I'm free on entry, just a touch. If you can make an adjustment to help on the entry, go ahead and see the right side tires going on. Down below him, Grant Enfinger in the middle of your screen. He says, I'm still just a little bit snug. Don't make any adjustments to the chassis. 4 tires for the 98 Hermie.
Noah Gregson got 2 tires on the last stop. He will get 4 tires on this stop and a wedge adjustment. He likes the balance of his truck just a little on the tight side for the 18. He's down and away.
Well, the 88 had some problems. A slow stop for Matt Crafton. You see losing 6 positions.
Looked like that left front tire didn't get all the lug nuts off at the first pass, then had to regroup and go back at it. You can see how long it takes them right there. And those are precious seconds, losing precious track position. Crafton's done such a great job of fighting to the front. He's going to have to do it again. The later it gets, the tougher that gets.
Saw his tire changer look at that wrench, say something's wrong with my wrench.
Back to NASCAR Camping World Truck Series action from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Just taking a look at the 88 truck and the guy calling the shots for him, Junior Joyner. Obviously a slow pit stop there for you guys, but based on the speed you have seen in that truck, confident you can still make it to the front?
Absolutely. Our Menards F-150 has been phenomenal all night. Matt's doing a heck of a job. These guys gained us a lot on the first stop, so you win some, you lose some. They'll get us 5 on the next one. We'll be there at the end, for sure.
Thanks for your time. Good luck.
We saw the tire changer on that 88, the front tire changer changing out the socket on that gun afterwards, so certainly looked like he had maybe a bit of an equipment issue. Better to have that problem on that stop than the last stop, because everybody has to come one more time. Final stage is underway. Playoff race number 2 in Las Vegas.
Saw that pit strategy by Marcus Richmond and Todd Gilliland. That has Vic 4 of Gilliland in the lead with his teammate Gregson right behind him.
Again, the 4 and the 18 together.
Look at Johnny Sauter, that blue and white number 21 lined up on the outside behind the 8 of Nemechek.
Crafton mired in the crowd back there after that slow stop.
3 wide is the norm on these restarts, isn't it?
If not 4.
They tried that.
Crafton lost a half a dozen spots on that restart. Restarted 9th, now finds himself 15th. Meanwhile, at the front, it's Gregson and Gilliland for the lead.
Look at the push. Enfinger's going to give to the 18, but no, he tries to take them 3 wide and does.
Grant Enfinger on the inside says, I'm going to the front.
How about Grant Enfinger? What a great job he's done tonight, racing up front.
Got rid of the 18 of Gregson and is putting the challenge on, and we've got a spinner. It's the 49 going around of Wendell Chavis.
We may be able to stay green if he can get that truck refired.
And he does, Phil. What a great battle we've got at the front. We're going to stay green.
Wow. So Enfinger has taken over the lead, and John Hunter Nemechek has come up, and he has grabbed 2nd, with Gilliland and the 18 of Gregson fighting for 3rd. It's going to go to Gregson.
Side-by-side battle for the 5th spot. Johnny Sauter, the 21 on the inside, Friesen, the 52 on the outside, with Jesse Little, the 97, right behind him.
I am so proud of Jesse Little and that team. They only have 3 or 4 full-time employees. He always drives it up toward the front.
And here comes Little working on Sauter now after Friesen got around. Friesen sits 5th, Sauter 6th, Jesse Little 7th. And behind them, the winner of playoff race number 1, Justin Haley, in that 24.
Racetrack's cooling off, Mike. That draft is coming into play now.
Yeah, remember that 4.5 second stage 1 win by Gregson in this 18 truck? They're not going to get out 4.5 seconds between now and the finish of this race, I can guarantee you.
For 2nd place, Nemechek has it. Gregson wants it. Grant Enfinger is the one they're chasing. Enfinger looking the strongest he's looked all season long. He said he likes Las Vegas, and he feels like their 1.5 mile program has continued to get better and better, and he has run well here in the past, and he is showing some real power out front tonight.
Well, it looked like John Hunter maybe moved up to block Todd Gilliland, and that opened the door on the bottom for Friesen. Johnny Sauter to try to come through.
Looks like Sauter's truck's coming alive a little bit too as this race is progressing.
Yeah, he's really struggled on the restarts, really didn't have the speed. He had by far more speed this time than he did the time before as he tries to make the move under Gilliland.
How about that 52 of Friesen running fourth, Caitlin?
Well, Vince, listening into his radio, overall pretty happy with the balance, but told the team he's still a little bit tight in 1 and 2. But talking with him earlier today, he told me he knows the mile-and-a-half program is a strong suit for this team. Also adding he feels like some of his dirt experience was really going to help him for some of the conditions that he was going to see at this racetrack. Hermie.
The 21, you guys mentioned Johnny Sauter. Truck is better on this run. Why? He's using his experience to talk to his crew chief, Joe Shear Jr. He told Joe, prior to coming back down pit road, they had made track bar adjustments the last 2 times down pit road. Johnny Sauter said, Joe, we've got to use wedge, take the track bar back to where it was, and make our adjustments with wedge. And obviously, Johnny likes it, and the truck likes it. Johnny Sauter, although like in a battle with the 52, he likes the way the truck is driving right now.
That was kind of a hold-your-breath moment for Sauter right there.
And we talked about at the top of the show, this track is going through a transition. It's getting cooler, and that means it's going to change the way these trucks handle. So sometimes it just comes to you, and that's certainly what you hope would happen. Gregson, obviously, with that big win in the first stage, drove away from the field. These other trucks are getting better.
Yeah, remember, it was about 100 degrees earlier today, and then even when we started the race tonight, track temperature at about 114. The sun has now set, and the track's starting to cool, and we've seen that draft expand as well as the temperatures have cooled and the track conditions have changed. Great point, Mike.
Good battle here for the 4th spot. That's actually 3rd, 4th, and 5th right there with Nemechek, Friesen, and Sauter.
Sauter has won 5 times this season, more than anyone else in the series. 2 of those wins have come on the mile-and-a-half, and when you look at the mile-and-a-half tracks we've run this season, no one has a better average finish than Johnny Sauter. But he hasn't been at the front yet tonight. Currently sits in that 5th spot. Hasn't let him get too far away, but he hasn't had that truck that has shown the ability to lead yet this evening.
The groove has migrated up. John Hunter Nemechek has carried him a little bit up the racetrack. Stuart Friesen was right in his tire tracks over there in 1 and 2. Now he's going to try to take a look on the inside. Not able to do anything this time.
Fairly early here in the final stage. Remember, this final stage is 70 laps, and we've got 57 to go. Everyone will have to come to pit road one more time.
I think this 21 truck of Sauter's faster than these 2 guys ahead of him, but just can't figure out a way around. He's trying to peek to the outside. Friesen closed the door.
And they have a little history together, too, Friesen and Sauter, and tend to wear on each other's nerves, it seems, on occasion. So we'll see what kind of patience they both show one another.
Much like with Gilliland and Gregson, these guys are teammates at GMS.
And really, as frustrating as it might be, you can't afford to do something stupid and put an end to your night.
Wow,
and cost yourself some serious points.
This 18 truck is just so solid. He was able to run down Grant Enfinger. He's been working over the 98 truck, has Gregson, but not able to make them pass yet.
Look at that run he gets off of turn number 4 there.
Phil, how much do you think these drivers might be rolling off the gas, trying to play with making a run on the exit to see if they can get the momentum to make the move and finish the pass?
See, Friesen not going to be able to make it. It's going to get loose down on the bottom of the racetrack. I think if you're running in their tire tracks, Mike, there's really nothing you can do about it. You have to get the momentum like we saw Brett Moffitt do at Michigan that time when he made the pass on Johnny Sauter for the win. You have to back up and get a little bit of a run, get some momentum.
And that cost Friesen the spot as he lost it to Johnny Sauter, and now Sauter tries to make the move on Nemechek with a little more success possibly.
Johnny's truck has gotten better and better and better. It came around way quicker on this run than it has the previous runs.
Is he going to be able to slide up in front of Nemechek? Yes.
So Johnny Sauter into 3rd. A couple of seconds behind the 2nd place truck of Noah Gregson. And they're all chasing the 98 of Grant Enfinger.
I'm like Michael. I think if now that Johnny Sauter has got clear of that battle, he may drive up and catch those 2 trucks running up front, 1 and 2. Enfinger and Gregson.
There you can see the gap. There's Enfinger. Nice run through the center of the corner. Gregson flares up a little bit high. But I think it's important, if you're Gregson right now, you need to be sizing up Enfinger, rolling off the gas, making sure you have your momentum on exit, not entry. I think that's some of the games you see these guys playing. Not Johnny Sauter, though. He's wide open looking at that tailgate of the 2 trucks ahead of him.
Great battle here side by side, Gilliland and Friesen. Guys, with 52 laps to go, that means we're in our window. If the caution flag were to come out now.
Oh, trouble. Around. It's Gilliland. Got hooked on that right rear.
Well, there's that caution window we were talking about.
Jesse Little was on the outside.
Little was there, and it's tough to tell. We'll have to look on the replay. Did Little come down, or did Gilliland move up?
We'll watch the replay and make that call, Vince, but it looked like just 2 guys racing hard for a position. I can't imagine Little would have come down, but you come through the tri-oval, the front straightaway, you've got to move around a little bit to make the turn.
A lot of damage to that JBL Tundra. See, it's shedding rubber from the tires.
Yeah, the replay here will give us a better indication.
Looks like Jesse was just trying to follow the tire tracks of Friesen, and I'm not sure that Todd really knew he was there trying to get in that hole right behind Friesen.
That certainly wasn't anything intentional. I think Jesse Little was just drafting behind Friesen. You can see there Gilliland came up just a bit. And fortunately for Little, he didn't get any more damage than he did, but unfortunately, Gilliland's night will be over.
Well, Todd Gilliland was running in that 6th spot. Up ahead is the incident. The view from Cody Coughlin's truck.
Coughlin does a nice job there not getting into the back of Haley. As Haley rode off the gas, they were able to both slip by.
Boy, a frustrating outing for Todd Gilliland. They have been, as many of the nights have been, or the races have been for this team, they have had speed, but just haven't been able to get oftentimes what you feel like they deserve on a particular race.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're going to be able to repair this truck, Phil.
No, I don't think so either. Guys, remember, Todd Gilliland is only 18 years old. He wasn't even old enough to run the 1.5 or the bigger tracks when we started the season. He's really an outstanding talent. He's going to win a lot of races.
Expected to be full-time in this for this team next year at Kyle Busch Motorsports. As Phil mentioned, missed 4 races at the beginning of the year because he wasn't old enough, was just 17 when the season started, couldn't run the big tracks.
But we are in our window now with 50 laps to go. Every team can come to pit road and make it to the end of the race, and I think we got to do it. I think we come in now, get some more tires to go to the end of the race. They all should all have 1 set of tires left in on pit road.
And we see how important track position is. I mean, you've got to be at the front of this pack if you're going to be able to contend for the victory. You find yourself on a different pit strategy and have to pit later after all these lead trucks pit now. I think there's no way you win the race.
Well, this track has lent itself to a lot of long runs at the end as you look back through the history of the racing here at Las Vegas. So you don't want to take any chances that you're going to get another yellow. This may be your last chance, and you don't want to have a set sitting there unused.
That's what Jeff Hensley right there, Grant Enfinger's crew chief, is talking about. Here they come.
Grant Enfinger leading the long line down, and they're coming toward Caitlin Vincey. Enfinger, the leader.
Yeah, Vince, Grant Enfinger telling his team that he's just a little bit snug, but he's not hitting the splitter as much as he was. His crew chief, Jeff Hensley, said we'll go ahead and make a track bar adjustment to try and loosen you up, also top off with fuel, but no tires was the call for the 98. Hermie.
The 21 of Johnny Sauter, and his words said, this truck has finally come to life. It's turning much better now with those last adjustments. They go into the track bar once again. The right side tires going on. Should be a 4-tire stop for Sauter. The 18 of Gregson, he likes his truck as well. A little bit tight off of turn 4 was the remarks from Noah Gregson. 4 tires for the 18. He's down and away.
No tires for the 98 of Enfinger. Surprised?
And only 2 for Friesen and Rhodes. Yes.
Yes, I'm very surprised.
I don't think that's the right call. I know the times haven't fallen off a great deal, but this is when things start to get tighter as we race toward 20-10 to go in this race. You've got to have every bit of the handling of your truck you can possibly have, and he's going to give up some handling with those used tires.
He's got about 20 laps on those tires, Mike.
We're going to find out. The late stages at Las Vegas. Back here in Las Vegas, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, playoff race number 2, less than 50 to go, and an interesting decision as the leader Grant Enfinger came to pit road and elected not to take tires. What's the story, Caitlin?
Yeah, Vince, and Jeff Hensley is the crew chief who made that decision on no tires. What are your thoughts on the strategy play?
Well, I watched the Ford truck there, and he didn't get tires. He had about 15 or 20 laps on him and dropped the green. He went backwards. So tires do mean a lot. Our truck's pretty balanced right now. Grant said the grip level was still pretty decent, so we can make it on fuel, obviously, but so can everybody else. But if we get a caution here at about 15 or 20 laps, 30 laps in, we come in and get tires. We'll have 30 lap fresher tires and should be able to drive back up through there. So we'll see. Might not have been the right call, but we're going to live and die by our decision here.
Thanks for your time. Good luck to you, Vince.
Jeff Hensley, 13 wins as a crew chief in the Truck Series. He's no rookie. It's a calculated decision there, but is it the right one?
Well, we're in Vegas, and he's gambling.
Absolutely.
He's gambling. A caution comes out at the perfect time to get on pit road and get those tires, and then he's gambling that he can race back through the field. I think it's a bit of a stretch.
And, Michael, we were talking during the commercial break. The 18 of Noah Gragson was all over Grant Enfinger, so he may have felt like he had to do something to try to get that inequality back. So maybe fresher tires later on is what's going to be the ticket to the win.
Always seems to be a thriller here in Vegas, and always seems to be a thriller when USC and Texas get together. Remember part 1, Vince Young dazzled at the Rose Bowl. Part 2, a double overtime thriller. Get ready for the trilogy. USC and Texas tomorrow, 8 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Well, what a fun time of year it is for a sports fan. You got the racing in the playoff time. Football has started up. Baseball getting ready to hit the playoff stretch. There's a triple header here at Las Vegas this weekend. The first race in the playoffs for the Monster Energy Cup guys. The final race of the regular season for the Xfinity Series.
Former Truck Series champion Eric Jones on the pole for the Cup race, the Monster Energy Cup race on Sunday.
And these are going to be 45 intense laps when they throw that green flag. These guys scrambling for that track position and getting themselves up toward the front. We've got some trucks up toward the front that we haven't seen up there. In the 4th spot, Mike Snyder. He's got some older tires. It's going to be interesting to see how they're able to mix and battle on this restart like we've seen all night long with the differing tire grip that we'll see.
The Rookie of the Year points leader, Myatt Snyder. The 98 of Enfinger, the control truck. He won stage 2. Can he lead the rest of the way or finish the job and get a win here in Las Vegas?
Remember, right now he's racing against 2 tires. No tires on him. He's going to lose the battle with 2 tires on the 52 of Friesen.
And that's Ben Rhodes just inside of Enfinger for second. Enfinger secures that spot and looks to make the move on the outside around Friesen.
How about that one?
Wow.
The oldest tires in the field driving around the outside of Friesen.
That's that draft. He was able to use it perfectly to get into position to take the lead away. Can he complete it now?
Getting a little help from his teammate behind him, Ben Rhodes in that 41. Great view from the visor cam of Rhodes.
This is the Ford onboard. Look at that draft. Pull him right up to Grant Enfinger.
That was a push Enfinger really needed, but he just can't clear Friesen.
Friesen has never won in the Truck Series. Enfinger has won once at Talladega. Rhodes gives him a big push this time, and Enfinger goes to the front. Teamwork from the Thor Sport camp.
Absolutely.
I love this view. Feel like I'm riding in that truck with him. Hear him working the gas down in the center of the corner. The truck just didn't want to grip. Rolled off a bit. Saw the front 2 trucks pull away. Now watch that draft pull him right back up there.
Look at Gregson's losing spots on the inside of the racetrack.
Slipping back on that white line. Right there by Matt Crafton.
John Hunter Nemechek with some drafting help from the 21 of Sauter, trying to make the move on Myatt Snyder.
Crafton and Gregson at separate times today, they've had trucks that I've thought have been the fastest trucks on track, and right now they're just trying to get through some traffic. Wow, 4 wide.
Matt Crafton all the way to the top of the racetrack to pass several trucks. Look at Johnny Sauter in the middle with a 21 truck.
Sauter's able to pull up on the outside. That was a good